100%. White Christian nationalism is the Christianity of the KKK.
Yeah. You're listening to Good Faith Weekly. I'm Mitch Randall.
And I'm Missy Randall.
We're here each week exploring the intersection of faith and culture.
We find people who stand up, speak out, and step forward
for inclusion, freedom, and justice for all.
It's time for Good Faith Weekly.
Brought to you by Good Faith Media. Welcome to Good Faith Weekly. On this episode, Missy and I are going to catch up. Then in the intro, we're going to talk a little bit about a new quiz that we're going to take leading up to America's 250th anniversary. And then later on the pod, we sat down with Reverend Dr. Shannon Fleck, the Executive Director of Faithful America. It's a great pod, so stay tuned. Hello there, Missy.
Hey, how are you?
I'm well, and you?
I am feeling like a winner.
Really? What's the occasion? I say nervously.
Right. So I feel like we are about to cross the finish line and win a race in a race that we don't even have to do anything for.
Okay, I'm on board.
Yeah. So we are nearing the end of Maycember.
That's right. I forgot all about it.
See, that's the beauty. We get to forget now.
That's true. We do get to forget.
So for those of you who aren't aware or who have forgotten, who have blocked it out of your memory, Maycember is known as that time in every parent's or teacher's, anybody in academia's life that squishes together all the busyness and craziness of a month like December and just doubles it up in May.
Yep.
So this includes, for those with younger kids, field trips, field day, party day, water day, pajama day, awards nights, programs, all of those things that happen all at once. And you usually don't know about one or the other until the night before, right? Sure. Added to that, you have graduations, of course. You have sports banquets, all the things.
I blocked all of this out of my mind.
Exactly.
Now it's all coming back. Yeah.
But we are almost through it. We are almost turning the clock to June. And you and I just are sitting here on the patio with a beverage.
That's right. Yeah.
We just get to enjoy.
Yeah, absolutely.
In fact, we had 2 graduations to attend this year, and even that felt like a lot.
It did, really.
I talked to our neighbor across the street the other day who has a baby, and I mentioned something about Maycember, and she looked at me, confused.
Right.
And I was like, oh, you'll figure it out.
You'll figure it out. Yeah, really quickly.
So yeah, we're almost, but okay. So in light of the end of Maycember, it got me to thinking about academic calendars and about milestones. Sure. And I was remembering parent-teacher conferences. And, teachers have a way of, kind of doing this formula in which you go in and they call it, a lot of teachers will call it 2 stars and a wish.
2 stars and a wish, yes.
Right. So if you can imagine you're going in to hear about your child, they're going to tell you 2 stars, like 2 things they do great.
Absolutely.
And then a wish.
A wish.
Like, here's what I wish we could, your child could.
Let's imagine it into happening.
Let's imagine what they could do it. Right. Yeah. Or a compliment sandwich. So you basically got a compliment and then some sort of wish or goal for the child and then another compliment. And this is all meant to,
stay positive.
To stay positive.
Stay positive.
I, as a parent, when our first child went to kindergarten, remember getting this kind of process in parent-teacher conferences and was just appalled that there was anything lacking.
There was
for
any
my
wishes
kid,
whatsoever.
Right?
Yeah, that's right.
Right. But you get used to it and you see the value in it.
Right.
So follow me.
Am I about to get wished?
No. Although we could do that. That would be fun.
Okay, good.
So for the next several weeks,
yes,
leading up to America's 250th birthday,
yes,
I feel like it's time for a parent-teacher conference.
Okay, let's do it.
So what we are going to do each week is we're going to take a look back throughout our years.
250 of them.
Right. And we're going to look at some of the accomplishments and also talk about some of the wishes, maybe something that, we could improve upon in light of those events.
Okay, got it.
So this is what we're going to do.
2 stars and a wish. Here we go, America.
For the next several weeks leading up to our graduation into year 251.
Excellent.
Right? Okay. So, Mitch.
Yes.
On this week in 1844, surrounded by an audience of congressmen, inventor Samuel Morse sent the first official telegraph from the Supreme Court chamber to his partner, Alfred Vail, in Baltimore.
Okay.
Big accomplishment,
Big
right?
accomplishment.
He tapped out the message, "What hath God wrought?" which I found
Interesting.
interesting.
Yes, very interesting.
Using a system that sent out a signal in a series of dots and dashes.
Diddy.
Thank you for the special effects.
Yeah.
Each combination representing one letter of the alphabet, and this is, of course, what became known as
Morse
Morse
code,
code,
yeah.
right? So I think that is a great star for our country.
Good job.
Right.
Way to go, America.
However, this officially launched the era of instant long-distance electronic communication.
Wah, wah, wah.
Which is great. But fast forward almost, 200 years, and I would say that's gone a little bit sideways in some ways.
A little bit, just a tad. Yeah.
So I would say I wish that our communications over long distances, over the internet, over the phone, could be a little more productive.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah, I would agree. I would say, great job, Morris. Well done. It's great the fact that we can speak to each other all the way across the globe. But here's the thing: I would wish for that we would speak to one another a little less frequently.
That's not where I was going with it, but I'm good with that. We'll go with it. Okay, moving on. In the year 1922, President Taft dedicated the Lincoln Memorial this week.
Way to go, Taft.
Yeah, the inscription on the memorial reads, "In this temple, as in the hearts of people for whom he saved the Union, the memory of Abraham Lincoln is enshrined forever."
Wow. Okay.
It's pretty powerful.
Very powerful.
Given what the country went through during his presidency.
Yeah.
Obviously, in any of these things, there's problematic moments, but at the end of the day, the end of slavery, at least legal.
Yeah.
I feel like that's a great star.
That is a great start. Do you know another little factoid about President Taft?
Are you about to pull something out of your mind when I have to do all the research? Fine.
Yes.
Go ahead.
So President Taft is also the only president to also be a U.S. Supreme Court justice.
Oh, you know what's funny? I'm pretty sure that came up in a prior quiz on this podcast.
I think so. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you for
always
reminding
learning
me.
stuff at Good Faith Weekly.
That's
So,
right.
yeah.
We are nothing if not educational. Okay, so I would say that marking that memorial is an important accomplishment in our country, and of course what it represents for our country. That's great.
Gold star.
Gold star. My wish, or the meat of this compliment sandwich, so to speak, would be that we would have been better stewards of the goals in which that, I guess, instigated or that brought about.
Yeah, civil rights leaders have always said only thing that they really hope for and wish for in this context is that America would live up to the values it proclaims to believe in. And so that is exactly the case.
Right. In my notes, I have my question is, what have we done since that time to ensure freedom, justice, and opportunity for all people?
Absolutely.
And so what have we done with the gifts we've been given?
Absolutely.
So,
and we can always do better. And we have made great strides in the last 250 years, but we've got so many more steps to take.
I agree. So moving forward, this week in 1937, something really exciting happens. The Golden Gate Bridge opened.
Oh.
Isn't that fun?
That is one of my favorite illustrations.
Really?
Yeah.
You want to share those real quick?
I do. So the two pillars that hold up the bridge symbolize to me the pillars of freedom and justice that hold up the promise of the United States of America. If we do not have freedom and if we do not have justice, then we do not have a country.
Wow. Ladies and gentlemen, this is how it is living with him. He finds symbolism in everything. But I actually think that's a really nice illustration. It's really lovely.
Sorry, folks. The preacher just came out of me.
Right. But what I found interesting about this accomplishment was that the construction process was notable for its emphasis on safety, resulting in remarkably low fatalities compared to industry standards of the time. Engineer Joseph Strauss mandated a suspended safety net beneath the bridge, and it saved 19 lives and was a massive innovation for the time.
I remember seeing that in a documentary or something. Yeah.
Now,
That's
11
amazing.
people did die, but that was still, again, that's tragic. But
Sure.
for that time and to institute and provide more worker safety was, a big deal. So.
Can you imagine working on a structure like that?
No.
I mean, the fact that you have a net underneath you is amazing, but think about all the constructions that happened in big cities, and what happened across this country as it expanded and progressed. There was none of those safeguards. I just cannot imagine that.
Right. So I'd say that's a gold star for
That's a gold
progress.
star, yeah.
I really think that's
yeah,
and,
well
and
done.
a little fun fact is that on this week, on May 27th specifically, 200,000 pedestrians eagerly competed to cross the bridge in bizarre ways. Notable firsts included the first person to walk across on stilts, the first to roller skate, and others who tap danced, unicycled, or just pushed baby carriages the entire length.
That's
So it was a
amazing.
whole pedestrian day celebration. Okay, moving on to your lifetime.
Oh.
In 1972, President Nixon was able to see to fruition SALT. Now, this isn't margarita salt.
Right.
Although that is definitely a notable achievement.
Sure.
Whoever did that, and whenever they did that, we celebrate them.
We celebrate.
They should win the Nobel Prize for bartending.
Absolutely.
Okay. But this was SALT, which stands for Strategic Arms Limitation Talks with Russia.
Yep.
Do you remember this?
I do remember it.
Sure.
I remember really poring over the data when I was like 2.
Yeah. So it's widely seen as the crowning achievement in the Nixon administration.
Not many there, but we'll take it.
Right. See, there's a joke in there somewhere.
Yeah.
I'll let you have it. But I want to add this little factoid that seems relevant to us today. President Johnson actually laid the foundation and began pushing for these talks in 1967. Call me crazy.
Crazy.
Yeah. You know what? I'm glad people can't see right now the gesture you're getting. But my mind just goes to the fact that weapons negotiations like this often go on for years before an agreement is made.
Right.
Now, I think they should be able to be done faster. Shouldn't have all these weapons.
Sure.
However, amidst nations, these things take years to get to an agreement, not mere days or weeks, as some who shall remain nameless might believe today.
Exactly.
So if you're listening, that someone, take a lesson from history.
Yeah.
I'll let you even take a lesson from Nixon himself.
Right. Yep.
Yeah. So I would say, I think that's widely seen as a gold star. I think the wish would be that we would learn from these things.
Yeah, and the big lesson there is that you had Johnson, who began these conversations, who was a Democrat, and then Nixon, who picks it up, who is a Republican. And it's the continuation of American policy over the course of different administrations from different parties. That has always been somewhat of the brilliance of our self-governments, is that no matter who's in the White House, at least, nuances change.
Of course.
But the overall objectives remain the same. This is what is completely different in the Trump administration.
I would agree. And thank you for that lesson that you didn't even prepare for.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Okay, and my last little factoid, which is not in chronological order, but it's just for fun, and I know you'll especially appreciate
Excellent.
this. Do you happen to know what I'm hearkening back to?
I have no idea.
Specifically on May 25th,
Yes.
1935.
1935.
At Forbes Field.
Forbes Field.
In Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Come on, you've got to get this now.
Pittsburgh Pirates.
What happened?
Is that when the Babe hits his home run?
Yes.
No! Yes. Oh my gosh.
Yes, Babe Ruth hit his 714th and final home run.
Oh, the Babe.
A record for career home runs that would stand for almost 40 years.
You know, when you bring up Babe Ruth, it still hurts, Missy. It still hurts, the curse of the Bambino.
Does it? So he went on that night. He went 4 for 4, hitting 3 home runs and driving in 6 runs.
Well, even though I am a long-time Boston Red Sox fan who mourns the day the Red Sox traded Babe Ruth to the New York Yankees, I will tip my hat to the great Babe Ruth.
That's right. I thought that was a lot of fun. So anyway, so there's the report card and the parent-teacher conference.
Yep. 2 stars and a wish.
As led by me in evaluating the first 250 years of American history before we graduate on to the next phase.
This is a good start. I love it.
Yeah.
2 stars and a wish. Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
I'm excited to see what I learn going forward.
Absolutely. Well, speaking of home runs, Missy, you and I get to sit down with someone who's constantly hitting home runs, and that is the Reverend Dr. Shannon Fleck, who is the executive director of Faithful America.
Right. Shannon is a friend and actually happens to be local to us, which is great. We always enjoy talking to her. But man, she just brings so much energy and vibrancy to her work and is so inspiring and motivating, even for me. So I really enjoyed our conversation, and really we had some really great nuggets.
Absolutely. We're going to learn more about this partnership that Faithful America has with Indivisible and this tour that they are going on along the lines of red states here in America. So she's going to explain it all, talk about what they're doing, and it is a really inspiring interview. So Missy and I will be right back with Reverend Dr. Shannon Fleck. Good Faith Media is the new home of A Sermon for Every Sunday. This free resource offers lectionary-based video sermons by America's best preachers for use in worship, Bible study, small groups, Sunday school classes, or for individual use. All you do is push the button. With A Sermon for Every Sunday, you can be inspired by and learn from some amazing preachers: Otis Moss III, Amy Butler, Brian McLaren, Starlette Thomas, Will Willimon, Michael Curry, and many, many more. Hundreds and hundreds of free sermons are waiting just for you. You can find them at goodfaithmedia.org or asermonforeverysunday.com. Welcome back to Good Faith Weekly. On this episode, we've got a very special guest with us. The Reverend Dr. Shannon Fleck is an Oklahoma native and executive director of Faithful America, where she leads her team in prophetically confronting white Christian nationalism in the United States. For nearly 8 years prior to taking on the role with Faithful America, Dr. Fleck led the Oklahoma Faith Network, where she drew attention to religious extremism in the nation's reddest state. Dr. Fleck actively consults with faith leaders, politicians, lawyers, judges, businesses, and nonprofit organizations on strategic responses to religious extremism in local context and has been instrumental in cultivating effective, impactful responses. Faithful America recently partnered with Indivisible to launch the Frontline Faithful Tour, a multi-state journey to the places where the fight against Christian nationalism is the most urgent. My gosh, you are one busy woman. Shannon, welcome back to Good Faith Weekly.
Oh, thank you. It's always so good to see you both and to talk to you. This is like a little reunion.
That's right.
It is. We always love when we can bring old friends on the pod. It's fun for us. So thank you for joining us today. Let's begin with an introduction. Tell us a little bit about Faithful America. Then tell us about the Frontline Faithful Tour and explain why I haven't been invited to tag along.
Listen, you're invited to every single stop, meeting, state.
Shannon, you do not know what you
No,
what
it'll
you
be
asked.
so fun. I love a good road trip. So let's do it.
Yeah. Oh, my goodness gracious. And this is road trip style. It's very no frills, lots of driving. But let's chat about Faithful America, which was founded as an offshoot originally of the National Council of Churches, and then eventually found a home with Faith in Public Life, primarily to do digital work, to do digital ministry and activism, and went out on its own from there, from Faith in Public Life, became its own independent 501c4. And I became the executive director a little over a year ago. So in April of 2025, I came into this brand new world after leading here in Oklahoma for about 8 years. So Faithful America has been and still is very digital focused. However, I brought in this wild hair that there is a lot of work to be done, especially in our red states, especially in the places that have been ignored, left out, not resourced, not invested in. And that has been what's led to this proliferation of white Christian nationalism in these places. And I really went out on a hunch of, I think there's some good stuff out here. And after one official stop in Louisiana, I can confirm, I think I might be onto something.
You think?
You think? Yeah, absolutely.
I think you might as well.
Yeah. So we went to Louisiana about a month ago. And that's what I say when I'm talking about road trip style, Missy. My gosh, like we were scheduled in a few places for a few meetings and then got there, and word spread very quickly that Faithful America and Indivisible were going around Louisiana, and we were booked, packed to the hilt. We ended up visiting 9 cities all across the state of Louisiana, just blowing and going. We had to change my flight in the middle of the trip so I could leave out of Shreveport because there was no way I was going to make it back down to New Orleans to leave. So
That's amazing.
it was packed. I'm already going to go back in August.
That's amazing. And how encouraging.
Yeah.
Especially for those of us who don't physically see that on the ground, to know that that's what's happening.
People in these states, people in these places are so ready. And we know this from being in Oklahoma, but one of the things I quickly recognized when I went, I guess, on a broader scale is that the experience of red state Oklahoma is not certainly universal. And we are probably about a decade or two ahead of the rest of the country as far as understanding what this issue is and how it moves. And because of that, I really think it's these states that have the wherewithal, the knowledge, and the grit to show the rest of the country how to fight back against this.
Yeah. I've been saying this for a couple of years now, that as the country has been introduced to this idea of Christian nationalism, of course, all of us know that it has been around for so long in different expressions, but it's been Christian nationalism all along. I've been telling all of my friends who live in purple states and blue states, welcome to Oklahoma, the United States of America, because this has been going on for years here, decades here.
Yeah, welcome.
Yep,
welcome.
Absolutely. So, I mean, you've only been to one state so far. What other states are you planning on the tour?
Well, coming up next is our home, Oklahoma. I'm taking the opportunity to more formally go around the state of Oklahoma, but I live here, so I can have these conversations a lot. After that, we're going to be in Kansas, Missouri, Kentucky, which is probably the most purple state on our list, and then Texas. However, coming in hot, we think we're going to be adding Arkansas.
Wow,
Excellent.
that's
That's a great
excellent.
news. Yeah, that's great news. So
Yeah.
what are you hoping to accomplish after this tour? I mean, you're hearing a lot of things on the ground there in Louisiana. I'm quite certain those are going to be echoed here in Oklahoma and the other states. But at the conclusion of this tour, what's it going to look like? How are you going to measure your success?
The tour is really just the first step of what I envision being a much longer initiative, which is, at the end of the day, real investment in organizing and infrastructure in these states so that we can have a real fighting chance of pushing back against what has taken us over. And, I'm not really a big fan of war and battle analogies, right? Like I had to kind of be talked into the language. However, in strategy planning, you defend your territory, but you also resource the front line. You resource where the issue has taken hold and flourished to prevent it from drifting. And my friends, like we know that this issue has drifted. And now it's in the largest seats of power in the country. And until we are able to resource it where it is the absolute worst, where people have been fighting it with nothing, fighting it with duct tape and bake sales and a hope and a prayer of a coalition making it. We really have the capability to push this line, and that's the success. That's the goal. The tour is really just the first iteration of meeting with people, letting them know this is the goal, letting them know this is the vision, and starting to get everybody on board under this united effort across the region.
And Shannon, one of the things that, here at Good Faith Media, we get criticized a lot, and I'm sure you do as well, that we often have to remind people we are not an extension of the Democratic Party.
Oh, no. Yeah.
This
no.
battle we're in, to use that war kind of rhetoric, this battle that we're in transcends politics. And I think that's something that Good Faith Media understands. I think organizations like Faithful America understand. How do you communicate that out on the road to people?
Very bluntly, to be honest, just like you just did, this is about our faith. This is about our faith being used as a weapon by people seeking to attain power. And it's also this keen sense of awareness that we don't want earthly political structures invading faith traditions, just as much as we don't want faith traditions being used to manipulate people and to gain power. This lives far outside of this party infrastructure that our political system has created for itself. This is much bigger.
Yeah, absolutely.
So Shannon, I want to ask a question from, something that happened this week. You mentioned Oklahoma being kind of a testing ground for these policies in other states, but I'm from Texas, if you didn't know that.
If you never met a Texan, just wait around 30 seconds and they'll tell you.
I started to say, I feel like I knew that, Missy.
You probably did. But as we know, Texas is a loud voice within our nation, and something pretty significant happened this week there that I want to talk about. Because I did ask Mitch to kind of help me unpack this. I'm one that I like to hide under the covers and just cry. So
I don't blame you.
Yeah, that's my go-to. But the other night when we saw that Ken Paxton defeated John Cornyn in the primary for a Senate seat. I mean, that's pretty big. And now Paxton's going to be running against Tallarico. And I really hate it when things like this happen and it gives me hope. However, I'm cautiously optimistic, but I'm also afraid of what happens if Paxton does win and, the policies and ideologies that he ascribes to. Talk to
I
us
understand that.
a little bit about this particular thing that just happened, and what's your reaction?
Woo, y'all.
See, we speak the same language.
We do. See, you know exactly what I just said when I took a deep breath and said, y'all. Texas is going to be really, we knew Texas was going to be interesting. We've been watching everything unfolding out there, from the redistricting issues that were happening last year all the way to this moment. Texas has been on a journey. And Texas has its history with white Christian nationalism and has a very active presence with white Christian nationalism. And Representative Tallarico has been an active voice in the state legislature for some time now, pushing back brilliantly against these policies and utilizing a very reverent language for his faith that isn't judgmental or harsh. And now we're going to see that put right alongside this candidate that has some stuff, right? Like there's some unethical, immoral stuff happening. Right. And I say stuff, and y'all know what I speak when I say stuff. So we are really going to see this dichotomy of candidates, both of whom live in a place where morality issues, where Christian nationalism is on the table in the campaign language. It lives very present in Representative Tallarico's style anyway. So we're going to see it. And certainly when it comes to this issue, I'm interested to see what the voters of Texas are going to do. Are you going to vote party, or are you going to vote the ethics you purport to believe in?
And Shannon, with somebody who's got their finger on the pulse of what's going on across the country and using this as a microcosm, one of the things, and we see it here in the state of Oklahoma as well, one of the things that continues to concern me, and I've been concerned a long time, but continues to escalate my concern, is the rhetoric we see in Republican primaries. I mean, again, going back to Texas, John Cornyn is a red-blooded Republican.
Yep.
And he was, villainized as a liberal, somebody who loved Biden and supported Obama. And we see this break even within the Republican Party. And I would really like to have a conversation with some of these Republicans like Cornyn and others who are finding themselves on this losing battle, because it seems as though the Republican Party continues not only to lean into Christian nationalism, but quite frankly, and I don't use this term lightly, they're leaning into authoritarian fascism.
Oh,
and that is alarming. And that's where we need some of these red-blooded Republicans to say enough of this. I believe in a strong two-party system. I know you do as well. And so, but this goes beyond it. So, how do we educate people on these issues? Because, we're going through a primary here in Oklahoma with Mark-Wayne Mullin's seat being opened. And it's just absolutely a bloodbath, even within the Republican Party.
It is. It is. I think that is also very indicative of the window moving in on the right, especially in these states, especially out in these frontline states. The extremism that has been pumped into the water supply of our political discourse has shifted I'm just going to say the Republican Party, that's what we're talking about. Yeah. It's shifted this party so much further to the right. And it's really hard for moderate Republicans to operate in this system because they are taken out immediately. And that is happening by this villainization of liberals, of Obama. How many times are we hearing Obama referenced in these political ads? Yeah. What are we talking about? So it's that hatred and that vilification that is being weaponized in order to shift the party further to the right and shift it right into an authoritarian style, and B, it's making it impossible for moderate Republicans to survive the ecosystem. And now we're seeing that play out nationally in Congress with Republicans who are unable to stand in the moderate space. Republicans not from these frontline states, if they go against Trump at this moment, they're done. And that is that authoritarian element, that is that paralyzing, and that language plays such a distinct role in how that window has been shoved so far to the right that nothing can exist outside of it.
Yeah.
So, pessimist enters the room here.
You've always been there. We knew you were in the corner. Here she comes.
What we're seeing and what you're speaking to is kind of this like eating their own philosophy. Their circles getting smaller and smaller as they're kicking people out of their tent, which you would think would be a hopeful thing, because with numbers, declining, you would think that means there's larger numbers of those who believe sensibly, in my opinion. However, there's a consolidation of power that's happening. Yeah. So it's the race to see which one wins out. Do you ostracize so many people that you end up losing everything? Or are you fast enough in consolidating power that it doesn't matter, you've already won the game?
Wow.
So which is it?
That is an amazing point.
Thank you.
It really is, because, you just couched it that this is really not an argument between Democrats and Republicans. And it's not really about the ideologies of both parties. Shannon, would you agree? This really is an extension or an existential struggle between democracy and authoritarianism, period.
Boom. You nailed it, Missy. This is a race. And we see that so clearly from this administration. It is a race to get it done before accountability arrives.
Yeah.
And cutting off every pathway to accountability and making all these loyalist appointments. And, they've been coming for the courts for many, many decades at this point. So this has been a long game, a lot of which was implemented before Trump. He just became the mechanism for a whole lot of other sinister goals. And we are in that race. And what's unfortunate and a big part of kind of this chaos that we're watching unfold, especially on the right, I think has to do with the fact that they're coming to that moment, that point of, we're getting some resistance and it's going to get more chaotic as they scramble. They are going to move. Yeah, they are going to move chaotically. They are going to scramble. They are going to enforce and get real messy. The unfortunate part for us as people who live here is that we have to live in that mess and figure out how to move, organize, and build in that mess, because what we cannot do is yield to the chaos. That's the only card we have to play right now, is we are people in this country who are neighbors to one another, standing arm in arm across every divide you're campaigning on and saying absolutely not.
It's amazing. Maybe you do need to go on the road with Shannon.
Come on, Missy.
Pack my bags.
Well, I've got one last question for you before Missy wraps it up. But this question is ripped straight from the headlines. So last couple of weeks, President Trump negotiated with himself, which I don't know how you can do, to secure a $1.7 billion anti-weaponization fund. Christian nationalists who participated in the insurrection on the U.S. Capitol on January 6, 2021, are already applying to get their piece of the pie. So what is your response to this craziness over this fund?
It's offensive and abhorrent. And what in the actual world are we doing, people? Like, this is as corrupt and disgusting as it gets. This from the party of law and order and policing and all of the things that are put out by this administration. And we're going to reward people who were hurting Capitol Police officers, who were coming for our elected officials, who erected a noose on the Capitol lawn. This is disgusting, and we should all be livid. I think of, we are very close to the anniversary of the Tulsa Race Massacre here in Oklahoma, and I always think about the issue of reparations in this country and how important it is to be building that. And this, to me, feels like a slush fund, white supremacist reparations.
100%.
Yes. And so we're talking about reparations for white supremacists from 2021, but we can't talk about reparations for those that were enslaved or massacred in Tulsa, or the indigenous that were massacred. This is abhorrent and offensive, and every single person should be wildly offended by this, ethically, morally, spiritually, democratically. This is bananas.
Absolutely. Well said.
So the old adage of history may not repeat itself, but it sure does rhyme. I mean, this feels a little bit, it feels like there's a parallel that can be drawn here in post-Civil War era. Yes? No? I don't know.
Oh, I mean, you mentioned a while ago, I mean, this election cycle, we see Obama's name being thrown out there all the time in photos of him. I mean, it's the old trope. I mean, this is white supremacists or white supremacy at work in our face right now, and it hasn't gone anywhere. It's just it's the latest version of it.
100%. White Christian nationalism is the Christianity of the KKK. Yeah. This is the new iteration. This is they've put on the suit and tie and walked into the room. I think William Barber says, like, Jim Crow went and got a law degree, put on a suit. And Jim Crow Esquire. That's right. So this is 100% a new rhyming iteration of white supremacy, period. And certainly for those of us in America that are white, we need to be loud. We need to be the loudest in the room, in the spaces, naming what this is and taking a stand. The silence of too many white people has been the gasoline in this engine for way too long.
Absolutely.
All right, Shannon, my last question before the more to tell. So let's zoom back in on Oklahoma. For those outside of Oklahoma who are rolling their eyes and about to turn us off, don't, because we're about to talk sports ball. Stick with me. Okay.
Yeah, we are. Let's go.
We're in the middle of the NBA playoffs. As of this recording, we don't know who is moving on from the Western Finals. Thank you. From the Western Finals. So, first of all, as a sanctified prophet of our Lord, what is your prediction? Who is in the NBA Finals? And keep in mind that when this drops on Friday, you could be immediately proven right or wrong.
Oh, gosh. No, I will 100% be proven right. I have all the faith in the world in our guys at the Oklahoma City Thunder. They're going to pull this off. I don't know if it'll be game 6 or game 7, TBD, but we're absolutely going to do it. So go Thunder. Also, I mean, so then it'll be what, Thunder and Knicks in the final, right? And I think we got it.
All right.
We're going to do it.
You heard it here.
Predicting a repeat here in Oklahoma City.
Everything you just said for the last 20 minutes could be completely negated if you are wrong. So,
well,
no pressure.
Worse things have happened.
That's right.
Worse things have happened.
So in building on that, something has happened. I've got to confess, Mitch and I are not big basketball fans. However, we definitely jump on the bandwagon at playoff times. It's fun for the city, and we enjoy that excitement. Yeah. So we've been watching games with friends and learning a lot more specifics than I have about basketball and strategy and whatnot. But one thing a friend said the other night, who is very much a super fan, mentioned that largely the rest of the country has a disdain for the Thunder, which I have no idea. I'm not in that community. But anyways, I was like, well, why?
And his resource was Reddit.
Well, I mean, Reddit or message boards, things like that. Yeah. But it could be true. I don't know. In saying that, I just asked why, and he gave me an obvious answer. It's like, well, Oklahoma's a small market team, and, we generally want the bigger market, teams to win. And I get that, it's like the little brother is cute, but he's not allowed to win the game kind of thing. Mm-hmm, so that's one thing. But the other response he gave, I've just been chewing on because I think there's a broader kind of conversation to be had. He said, a lot of the message boards and threads and feedback, he sees is that, Oklahoma, we're just a bunch of country bumpkin illiterate. We're 50th in education, conservative right wing, like the larger we don't deserve this. It got me thinking, I know you get the same question we do all the time. Why are you staying in Oklahoma? Mm-hmm. And I feel like this is a conversation and the broader conversation of why are you staying in America, even for a lot of people?
Yeah.
How is this impacting progress overall when the narrative is to dismiss a group of people, a state, a country, or whatever, because of the perceived notion? You and I know there's a lot of great work being done here in Oklahoma, but it becomes defeating to those of us who are trying.
Yes, absolutely.
I don't know. How is that narrative impacting our ability to move forward?
I think it is what you have just named is the crux of everything I'm talking about when I talk about these frontline states. I'm talking about the states that have been written off, the flyover states, the ones that are actively referenced as a lost cause, the ones that have lent themselves to, we just have to roll our eyes and pat them on the head. They're never going to figure themselves out.
Right.
Well, my friends, we have been abandoned by larger ecosystems and infrastructures. What were we supposed to do? But there are still people here who love it here, who have family here, who grew up here, who know the hearts of people and know that indoctrination is real and factual because we have watched it take over our friends and neighbors and family, period. Yeah. If we are not going to stay and try and flip that narrative, then we are abandoning it as well. And I'm not saying there wouldn't be a time that I might live somewhere else. I have lived other places, but this is home. And the notion that we don't deserve something that the broader nation would view as lovely is indicative and widespread across any cultural, political, social, spiritual aspect in this country. And painting people like that.
It feels to me like this is the narrative that's expanding to our country as the rest of the world is reacting and responding to actions of our current government. And how long before we as a nation are completely dismissed on the world stage, even though I feel like the large swath of our country does not agree with the policies and the ideology that are front and center right now?
Unfortunately, I don't think we're far away at all from being dismissed on the world stage. Yeah. we have been moving in ways that are an affront to everything we have ever claimed to be as a nation. And it will be up to us as the people who are here, showing the rest of the world who we are, in spite of who is elected. And then we really have to do some deep dives so that we never, ever end up here again.
Amen. Reverend Dr. Shannon Fleck, you are a shining light here in the state of Oklahoma, and Faithful America is a shining light in our country. Thank you so much for being with us this week on Good Faith Weekly. Again, Faithful America and Indivisible have partnered up to launch the Frontline Faithful Tour. It's going to be going across these red states that Shannon mentioned a moment ago. So if she's coming to your state, make certain you go out and support their work. Well, Shannon, we're about to let you go, but there's one last question that we ask all of our guests. You know what's coming, and I'm going to turn it over to Missy.
So Shannon,
All right.
As you know, our tagline at Good Faith Media is "There's more to tell." So in light of your work and our conversation today, what is your more to tell?
There is so much more to tell about the ways that we can fight this white Christian nationalism that's taken over. There are so many ways that haven't even been thought of yet, but we have to get in the rooms with the people who know this issue the best. So there's a lot more to tell, and I'm looking forward to making it loud.
Love it.
You heard it here. Well, Shannon, again, thank you so much for joining us. You are welcome back anytime, my friend.
Thank you. So good to see you both.
And to our audience, we want to thank you for joining us this week on Good Faith Weekly. Missy and I will take next week off, and then we'll be back in 2 weeks with another guest. And until then, keep living good faith. You've been listening to Good Faith Weekly, hosted by Mitch and Missy Randall. This weekly podcast from Good Faith Media discusses matters of faith and culture.
Subscribe wherever you get your podcast and give us a like and a glowing review. We produce the podcast out of Norman, Oklahoma. Our music comes from Pond 5.
And we're supported by listeners like you. Learn more about us at goodfaithmedia.org.